Hi guys, welcome back to TV Spoilers. Today I'm going to reveal to viewers a crisis incident that Victoria is trying to address. This indicates Nick's health condition may be causing him to lose control of his actions. Victoria confesses to covering up Nick's dangerous behavior. When Nick falls into a drug-induced paranoia during the hunt for Matt Clark, Victoria is forced to confess that she covered up a serious incident Nick caused while under the influence of drugs. This incident may involve Nick endangering an innocent third party or damaging a valuable Newman property in order to protect the family's reputation and avoid legal trouble. This confession shows how far Victoria is willing to go to protect her family, but it also pushes Nick into a legal and moral crisis. Nick has never been the type to easily accept feelings of helplessness, but that's precisely what makes his condition even more terrifying. As his obsession with Matt Clark grew, Nick no longer acted like someone pursuing justice, but rather like someone silently controlled by fear, anger, and a chemical dependence. The closer he got to his goal, the more he lost control of himself. His once strong sense of lucidity was eroded by the drug infiltrating his body and mind, blurring the lines between survival instinct, the desire for revenge, and paranoia. The most dangerous thing wasn't Nick's desire to find Matt, but his belief that only he could end it all, even though he was the most vulnerable in this game. Initially, everything still seemed like a manageable plan. His family knew Matt was a real threat, and Nick's hatred therefore seemed justified. But what shifted the situation wasn't Matt's existence, but how Nick reacted to him. The fentanyl pills not only temporarily relieved his physical pain, but also opened a dark door in his mind. From someone struggling to stay grounded amidst chaos, Nick gradually became instinctively reactive, easily agitated, disoriented, and most frighteningly, easily convinced that he was still in control. This misguided confidence led him deeper and deeper into the abyss, while those around him could only watch helplessly, not knowing where to stop him. Victoria saw this most clearly. She not only saw her brother changing, but also recognized that this change evoked a memory she had long tried to bury. In Nick's unstable eyes, in his violent reactions to every clue related to Matt, and his almost desperate stubbornness to refusing to admit his breakdown, Victoria no longer saw the strong brother who had repeatedly risen after setbacks. She saw a collapse repeating itself, only this time the consequences might even be more devastating. Each of Nick's erratic actions peeled away the bandages she had placed over an old secret, causing the seemingly healed wound to begin bleeding again. In his hunt for Matt, Nick pushed himself into a state of extreme tension. He no longer waited for information, no longer listened to warnings, and no longer distinguished between necessary and reckless actions. To Nick, Matt was no longer simply someone who needed to be exposed. He became a symbol of everything threatening his stability, his family's stability, and the feeling that life could still be kept in order. Therefore, the more he pursued Matt, the more Nick pursued something bigger, the feeling of mastering the chaos within himself. But ironically, the moment he believed he was regaining control, he was losing it fastest. Victoria understood that, and it was that very understanding that fueled her fear even after her confession. She spoke the truth, believing it was the only way to prevent disaster, but sometimes the truth doesn't stop disaster immediately. It only strips away the disguise before the explosion. What she feared now wasn't just the law or public opinion would do to Nick. What she feared was that cornered by both the past and the present, Nick might choose a point of no return. And then, her confession would no longer be an act of saving the family, but the final spark igniting the fuel that had been accumulating for years. The tragic essence of the story lies in the fact that neither of them acted entirely out of evil. Nick pursued Matt out of fear, anger, and the belief that he was protecting what remained. Victoria concealed the past incident out of love, panic, and the belief that protection meant silence. But those motives, seemingly stemming from familial affection, when distorted by an obsession with control and a fear of losing face, transformed into a series of decisions that pushed everyone to the brink of disaster. The most terrifying question remains: If the events of the past were buried, if Nick is now losing control, if Matt is still the trigger that ignites all the darkest aspects of him, then did Victoria's confession truly come just in time to save Nick, or just early enough to witness him make an even bigger mistake? As Newman's reputation begins to crumble, as the past can no longer be hidden, as the present slips out of control, perhaps the most terrifying thing is not what has been revealed, but what Nick will do next after learning the whole truth.